Paralympic athletes. Dream gig. Comcast Business.
Tonight, breaking news from Washington. The president set to address the nation. And on Capitol Hill at this hour, the standoff over the secret memo now in President Trump's hands, written by Republicans in the House, a classified memo on the Russia investigation, criticizing the FBI. Democrats pouncing tonight what they now want, and when will the public see it? Meantime, President Trump's first State of the Union address just hours away now. It will be on the economy and on jobs. But tonight, what the president will not talk about, and what he told me today about unifying the country. The deadly flu emergency in this country, and new concerns tonight about the high demand for Tamiflu, used to fight the virus, families scrambling to find it. One pharmacy selling 100 bottles of Tamiflu in just an hour. 38 minutes of panic, and tonight we learn why that worker sounded the alarm in Hawaii after all, warning of an incoming missile. It turns out he thought the threat was real. Breaking news at this hour, the helicopter crashing into a home, reports of multiple injuries. And too close for comfort, the Russian fighter jet buzzing a U.S. Navy plane, that jet coming within just 5 feet.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from our nation's capital.
Good evening from Washington, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Tuesday night. We are here in the nation's capital because President Trump will address the nation tonight in his first State of the Union address, focusing on jobs and the economy. But Russia is the breaking headline as we come on the air tonight. The drama playing out right now over a classified memo that reportedly alleges misconduct by top officials at the Justice Department. The memo written by the staff of House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, a fierce defender of the president and a fierce critic of the Russia investigation. At this hour, Democrats say it is a partisan attempt to discredit the investigation and the special counsel, Robert Mueller. And tonight, we've now learned that that memo will be made public within 5 days unless the president objects. And that memo is now in the president's hands. ABC's Mary Bruce leading us off from the Hill tonight.
Tonight, the future of the classified Republican memo is now in the president's hands. Republicans argue it exposes political bias at the FBI that may have tainted the early stages of the Russia investigation. Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee, in an unprecedented move, voted to release it.
There may have been malfeasance by people at the FBI. So it is our job in conducting transparent oversight of the executive branch to get to the bottom of that.
The memo was written by the staff of Republican Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, one of the president's top allies. According to the New York Times, it claims the Justice Department acted inappropriately when getting a surveillance warrant for former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, who they suspected could be a Russian agent. The request to renew that warrant made by Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, the man overseeing the Russia investigation. Trump supporters say it calls into question the integrity of the Russia probe.
This makes Watergate like stealing a Snickers bar from a drugstore.
But Democrats say it's nothing more than a political hit job and accuse Republicans of cherry-picking the raw intelligence.
This committee voted to put the president's personal interest, perhaps their own political interest, above the national interest.
Democrats produced their own memo with their side of the story, but Republicans say they need more time to review it before it can be released.
Why not release all the information at the same time? Do a bipartisan process.
Yeah, well, we think the Republican memo does that, and we'll treat the Democrat memo exactly the same way.
The Justice Department originally said releasing the memo without their review would be extraordinarily reckless. Now the FBI director has seen it, but isn't commenting. And the man behind the memo, GOP Chairman Nunes, he's not commenting either.
I'm just not addressing any comments outside of the committee. We don't talk committee business in the hallway.
Mary Bruce is live up on the Hill tonight. And Mary, you and I were both in the room with Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan today. I asked Speaker Ryan if that memo should be seen by the public. He was emphatic. He said yes, but he didn't say the same thing when we asked about the memo written by the Democrats, the rebuttal.
Yeah, David, Republicans argue that they need more time to vet this Democratic memo before it can be released publicly. Meanwhile, we're told the president wants that Republican memo to be released publicly, but not before the White House lawyers have time to carefully review it. Tonight, we're told the president still has not seen the memo. If he does not make a decision, David, in these coming days, that memo will be made public.
All right. In the meantime, that memo sits at the White House tonight. Mary Bruce leading us off. Thank you. High stakes this evening for President Trump, who will stand before the Congress and the nation in just a few hours now, delivering his first State of the Union address. We're told he will focus on the economy tonight, immigration, national security. And today, while at the White House, a tradition for anchors from all the networks to meet with the president off the record. President Trump did tell me on the record what he would consider a great achievement. ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega with that tonight.
President Trump's first State of the Union address shrouded in secrecy, only a handful of close aides seeing the final product.
We worked on it hard, cover a lot of territory, including our great success with the markets and with the tax cut. And it's a big speech, an important speech.
A senior White House official tells ABC News the president gave specific instructions. He wants this speech to be positive and uplifting. Today, sitting down with television anchors, he told David, "I want to see the country united to bring it back from tremendous divisiveness. I will consider it a great achievement if I could make the country united." In his first address to a joint session of Congress, the president promised,
"The time for trivial fights is behind us."
What came next? A year of controversy and bitter partisan battles, with Robert Mueller's Russia investigation looming over it all. The president is not expected to mention Russia tonight. Today at the White House, he met with some of the First Lady's guests, each representing a key theme. A family benefiting from the president's new tax plan, a father affected by the nation's opioid crisis, and to highlight the need for tougher border security, parents of 2 daughters killed by MS-13 gang members. Democrats already planning protests, some bringing Dreamers, those undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children, and dozens of lawmakers wearing black tonight in support of the Me Too movement.
And so let's get to Cecilia Vega. She's live at the White House tonight. And Cecilia, the president telling me today, you saw there, that he wants to unite the country, get rid of the divisiveness. Unclear how much of the address will concentrate on that. But you're learning there were many voices at the table who helped him sort of craft this speech.
And David, some of these names are going to give you a sense of the themes that President Trump will hit on tonight. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, Economic Advisor Gary Cohn, and Stephen Miller, the president's immigration hardliner senior policy advisor. I'm also told that President Trump, for the last few weeks, has been sending to aides words and key phrases that he wants to use tonight. And he has done full dress rehearsals for the last 2 days, David. He's making final preps all day here at the White House.
All right. The president practicing. And Cecilia, you also have reporting tonight on who will give the Democratic response.
David, Joseph Kennedy, the congressman from Massachusetts, he is the grandson of Bobby Kennedy, will be giving this Democratic response tonight.
Cecilia Vega, live at the White House. Cecilia, we'll see you in a few. And of course, I'll be joining George and the entire political team, Cecilia, Mary, John, Carl, for the president's State of the Union address. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here. In the meantime, one more major headline tonight. ABC News has now learned the special counsel is now seeking to interview the man who quit as spokesman for the president's legal team. Mark Corallo quitting abruptly. So what did he see that he did not like? ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas and what he's learned tonight.
He was the spokesman for President Trump's legal team.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Corallo.
An insider often called upon to give explanations. But tonight, ABC News is learning more details about what allegedly caused Mark Corallo to abruptly leave the Trump team. Something the special counsel apparently wants to talk to him about, as Robert Mueller aggressively pursues the possibility of obstruction of justice. Corallo quit in July, sources say, in part because he was concerned that some in President Trump's camp were looking to unearth negative information about Mueller in an effort to find potential conflicts of interest for Mueller, whose investigation the president has repeatedly called a witch hunt.
But the entire thing has been a witch hunt.
Corallo also resigned less than 2 weeks after news broke of that now infamous Trump Tower meeting involving the president's son, Don Jr., and a group of Russians. Mueller apparently wants to find out exactly what Corallo knows about Don Jr.'s initial misleading statement, which the president helped write aboard Air Force One, saying that meeting was primarily about the adoption of Russian children. Days later, emails revealed Don Jr. agreed to meet the Russians because he had been promised dirt on Hillary Clinton by the Russian government.
In retrospect, I probably would have done things a little differently.
Michael Wolff's new book portrays Corallo as troubled by the president's involvement in crafting that first misleading statement. Wolff writing, Corallo believed the meeting on Air Force One represented a likely obstruction of justice.
Pierre Thomas and his team breaking this story tonight, and Pierre's with us. And you have reporting tonight, Pierre, that the special counsel reached out to Corallo's attorneys within the last 2 weeks. When's this meeting supposed to happen?
David, negotiations are underway for Mueller's team to interview Corallo. The likely topic, any concerns Corallo has about obstruction of justice. Tonight, Corallo's attorney declined to comment, David.
Pierre Thomas, our thanks to you. We are following a lot of other news tonight. The deadly flu emergency this evening. News of another 7-year-old boy losing his life. 39 states now reporting high flu activity. You can see them all lit up in red on the map. And in some of those high flu states, hospital beds are now in short supply. And so is Tamiflu. ABC's Steve Osunsami is at the CDC in Atlanta tonight.
Tashalina Blackman, her 4 kids, and her husband are all fighting the flu tonight. The doctor prescribed Tamiflu, the antiviral drug that helps. But finding any took them 2 days and more than a dozen trips to pharmacies up and down Chicago.
No one has the medicine at all.
The CDC and the people who make the drug underline tonight that there's plenty available. The problem is getting it to pharmacies like this one in South Carolina fast enough. In 1 hour, they sold 100 bottles.
This is the first year in probably a decade I've seen it where it's such short supply that, you know, you're scrambling to get it from your wholesaler.
Even with medication, the flu can kill. 7-year-old Kevin Baines died over the weekend in Virginia.
We tried to give him medication and everything he was supposed to do, and he just wasn't getting any better.
At Grady Hospital in Atlanta, both the drug and bed space are in high demand because of the flu.
Every bed is full. So not only are we full in the emergency department, our colleagues upstairs are full as well.
So let's get right back to Steve at the CDC again tonight. And Steve, some of the biggest pharmacy chains are now telling us they're working to get Tamiflu, or at least a generic version for their customers.
That's right, David. CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid all say that they have a good supply, but the amount can vary from store to store, which is why they say it's a great idea to call first. David?
All right, Steve Osunsami with us again tonight. We turn next here to a disturbing new report at this hour about the suspect in the murder of college student Blaze Bernstein, found stabbed to death while home in California on winter break. A former classmate from high school, Samuel Woodward, arrested for his murder, and tonight the investigative website ProPublica is now reporting that Woodward was a member of a fascist group. Their Nazi propaganda posted online, traveling to Texas for military-style training. Prosecutors have already said they have not ruled out a hate crime. Bernstein was gay and Jewish. We turn to the economy tonight. Your money, your 401ks, and as we reported at the top, President Trump will likely point to major gains in the stock market tonight since he was elected. But it has been a rare and volatile 24 hours on the Dow. Look at this today, plunging 362 points, the biggest drop in 8 months after a triple-digit loss yesterday as well. So let's get right to ABC's chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis. She's outside the New York Stock Exchange tonight. And Rebecca, we know one of the reasons several big companies today, their CEOs revealing their own plan to help fix health care, and insurance companies reacted.
That's right, David. The news weighed heavily on insurance stocks. Word today that Amazon, JP Morgan, and Berkshire Hathaway are teaming up to create an independent healthcare company for their employees hit those healthcare and insurance stocks hard, as did a feeling on Wall Street that we're in a period now of raising interest rates. And as those interest rates rise, the cost of borrowing gets more expensive, such that people and businesses have to spend more to borrow money. Sometimes that means they will borrow less, and that will slow the economy down. But you have to look at all of this in context. If you look at the last year, the Dow now, David, is up 31%. That means your 401ks are also doing better as well, David.
And the president likely to point that out just a few hours from now. Rebecca, thank you. The U.S. Navy reporting a very close and, quote, unsafe encounter with a Russian aircraft over the Black Sea, releasing this brief clip of yesterday's encounter, the Russian jet crossing the American aircraft's path, its weapons visible under its wings. The U.S. reconnaissance plane on a routine flight in international airspace. The Russian jet flying alongside it for more than 2.5 hours. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Tuesday from Washington. We do have breaking news. The deadly chopper crash. The images coming in now. The helicopter slamming into a home. Emergency crews on the scene. There are reports of multiple injuries. The new headline tonight about those 38 minutes of panic, and we learn why that worker sounded the alarm in Hawaii about an incoming missile. It turns out he thought it was a real threat. Martha Raddatz is standing by on that. And the fast-moving fire tonight, flames threatening several homes, several structures and vehicles already destroyed. A lot more news ahead. Stay tuned.
When you say you need a heart transplant, that's a whole different ballgame. I was in shock.
I am very proud of the development of drugs that can prevent the rejection.